The views expressed in this episode, as with all episodes of the podcast, are purely host opinions. The content on this podcast should not be taken as indisputable fact. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Hello and welcome to the Full Bottle Podcast, where we are learning something new every day. Sarah, I have a question. How many hectares of citrus trees are in Australia?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, hi, Rach. Before hitting up our own website for this, or I guess, logging into the dreaded chat GBT for something, or actually talking to a person, which is probably the more sensible thing to do, I'm going to guess about 20,000 hectares. That is a very woolly wild guess, though, Rach. How close am I?
You're not too far off, genuinely.
Oh, really?
According to our just most recent 2024 tree census, it's 33,000 hectares. So only about 13 off, which is pretty good.
Oh.
But still, but still.
Oh, it's a fair bit off with my woolly wild.
That's all right.
My guess.
Still up there.
That's a fairly hefty area, isn't it, of citrus?
Yeah, exactly. It's an insane number, but it's not just that. That's a lot of data to collect, to have to go and find all of those hectares, measure all those hectares. It's a huge, huge task, which is something that we are tasked with here at Citrus Australia.
And do we know how many actual citrus trees we have? I think we have someone quite special who works on things like that. And it just so happens to be our guest for the month, who can probably give us a bit of an indication. We're chatting next to our colleague Paul Stevens, which is really exciting. Paul is Citrus Australia's Advanced Citrus Traceability Project Officer, which is an impressive title in it. But wait for what he does. He joined Citrus Australia in 2021. He works on the geospace mapping of citrus farms across the country, which sounds very cool. He joined the team with a background in viticulture and a bachelor's degree in archaeology. How interesting is that? And today he's going to be talking to us about all things mapping and data collection. Let's bring in Paul. How are you, Paul?
Good morning, Rach. Good morning, Sarah. I'm well, thank you. I'm well. How are you guys?
Thank you so much for joining us and giving us a bit of your precious time. I know you're busy. I think you're one of the busiest people in our team in meetings constantly, aren't you? Talking about trees.
Exactly. Yes, there's always a lot to discuss when it comes to citrus trees and what's happening and where they are.
Where they are and how.
Very good. Yeah.
So can you, for those of us and those of our listeners who don't have a clue what you do, can you tell us what you do from day to day?
Yes. Well, I think you summarised quite well there, Sarah. It's very much about mapping the planting of citrus trees around Australia. The best way to describe it really would be if people think of something like Google Maps, and then imagine sort of citrus plantings being colour-coded by their varietal on that map. Gives us a really good sort of picture of what citrus is planted where and where it all is in Australia.
Okay, so look, you've got a background in a lot of different fields. Very clever fellow you are. What brought you away from archaeology, I suppose, and or viticulture, into the work that you do today?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I sort of fell into this role, pardon the pun, but really, I sort of came into this role with no real knowledge of citrus previously. As you point out, I have come from an archaeology background, but there is some tie in there in field archaeology these days. Sort of spatial mapping is increasingly used, particularly when searching for archaeological sites from from space, funnily
Right.
enough.
Yes.
You look for details in the landscape. There's a bit of a joke in archaeology that nature abhors straight lines, um, because everything that's a straight line is usually man-made,
Yeah.
and a good guide to where humans have been and what humans are doing. And it's in citrus mapping, using this sort of mapping is in some ways quite similar. I mean, we're looking for citrus plantings, where they are, and often, yeah, their shapes are quite really interesting of the plantings. Not always straight, neat squares or blocks. We often get some really interesting shapes and features of citrus plantings. So, and searching for them is quite similar. I mean, you're looking for in the landscape for that sort of treetop canopy that equates, and that's really what the block build is about. It's about identifying those plantings in the field.
Okay. So spatial mapping is literally using things up in space to help us map things out. Is that right?
Yeah, it's about using a series of overlaying maps. Probably the best way to describe it. So it's you think about not just Google Maps. I mean, there's a number of organisations out there that produce um, global maps, really.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's about using the most up-to-date versions. It's constantly updated, looking in the landscape, and the block builder itself is able to identify citrus plantings. But we're really going through um, and working out what is there and in what volume, what size, um, and to that end, yeah.
And so the citrus mapping project is your project. Um, can you explain just a little bit about what that is exactly? And when you say we, I don't think you're just referring to Citrus Australia, are you? You're talking about who you part or who we partner with. Is that right?
That's correct. Sorry. Yes. So I work quite closely with the University of New England, who are based up there in Queensland. And they're the ones, the brains really behind the actual block builder itself. Um, my job really is working with that program they've created to map in citrus onto the landscape,
Okay.
and fill out that data, what it is, number of trees, varietal, rootstock, etc.
So do we know? And forgive this silly question, but do we have an idea of how many citrus trees there are in Australia?
There would be a lot. I don't. We do we do in hectares.
Yeah.
And if you
Okay.
said 33,000, there would be a lot
A
of citrus
lot.
trees. I mean that doesn't even count, urban fringe, that sort of stuff. We're dealing with commercial plantings, obviously, but there would be a lot.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I've got two. I've got a tiny townhouse and I've got two out the back. I'm
Yes,
I'm going to
that's right.
assume they don't get mapped by by anyone. But look, is it just trees that are on your mapping project?
No, so we're working on a number of layers on the block builder itself. So as I said, the farm mapping is one element, but we've also got a number of layers based around movement of citrus around Australia. So if you think where trees come from before they go to the farm, we have a nursery mapping layer that's looking at commercial nurseries and retail nurseries, that's giving us an idea of where the trees are coming from before they're going to farm or to retail sites. We also are mapping things like packing sheds around Australia.
Right.
That gives us a better idea of where the fruit's going once it leaves the farm.
Yeah.
Um, and from there, we're also mapping in things like port facilities, freight facilities, so forth. So we've got a whole picture really
The chain.
of the chain. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Domestic and train all the way up to obviously supermarkets as well, and where the fruit's ending up with that regard. So retail outlets, major um, markets in capital cities. And this is really, one of those safeguards for the industry as well. So
Okay. So where is the data stored, I suppose, and then how is it used? I mean, is the data that you work with available to the public, or is it all secret squirrel stuff?
yeah, so for the most part, it is that secret, a bit more of that secret squirrel stuff. Only because really, with regards to the data, a lot of it's coming from tree census. With regards to the farm block level data, it is coming from either tree census or KCT maps, that sort of things.
Yep.
Um, and um, it's really it's important from our end, I guess, with regards to going back to that farm level data. It's about understanding um, where citrus is planted, how much citrus is planted, but also what's going in, what's coming out, what's going out of the ground, what's being removed and what's being planted. Um, with regards to advocating for the industry, um, to government, you can't really do that without knowing how much citrus is there to begin with. And that's really the crux of the block builder is in some ways about understanding how much citrus we have planted out there. To advocate for growers to government, we need to show that how important our industry is to this nation.
Yep.
And to do
Which
that,
it
we need
is.
to know how much is. Yeah, that's exactly right. And to do that, we need to know what's in the
We need
ground.
we need the data. We need the
That's right.
stats.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
to advocate. And now you are. I said the citrus mapping project. You're talking about block builder. What's the difference there, or can you explain what the block builder
Sorry.
is?
Yeah. So the block builder is obviously the program, really. The citrus
Okay,
mapping
right,
project. Yeah. Sorry,
right.
I probably should have
No,
made
no,
that
no, it's good.
clarification. But yeah, it is. That's the program we use is the block builder, and that's force a habit for me. So that's but yeah, it is the mapping program.
Oh, amazing. And is that a university sort of developed program that you use?
Correct.
Right. So
Yep.
that's UNE's. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does sound very secret squirrel. Can Rach and I come in and have a, peek over your shoulder one day and have a
Of
look at it
course.
all, or is that,
Of
or
course.
is it really very secret squirrel?
It's a very pretty kaleidoscope. It's more the underlying data itself. Like to us and to me as well, and to UNA, it's very important to protect growers' data.
Yeah.
They're entrusting us with that sort of information.
Yes. Okay.
And as I often say to growers, um, this is not something that everyone, this is important to growers, and we respect the fact that their information is held in the highest regard. So that is why we hold that as security.
That is important. And look, I mean, how often are you sitting in front of a computer, um, adding blocks or building onto your blocks? Is it
Yeah, a lot, a
yeah,
lot.
a lot,
It's
right?
to be honest, the amount of time I spent scaled out looking at the whole map and gazing at wondering how much citrus we had planted in this country is very rare. Most of my day is truly spent down in the weeds, as it were, down at the block level, adding in those individual blocks and getting the data in. Every block we get really does help build in that picture a bit further. Yeah, no, it's really that's the important part.
How do we stay on top of it? Because I know there are decisions being made every day around market forces and for all sorts of reasons about keeping citrus plants in or ripping them out and replacing them with grapes or something else. How quickly can you stay on top of those movements, or how easy or difficult is it to stay on top of those movements?
That's something I had a meeting just yesterday with UNE about this, discussing this exact thing about how we and it's a continual question. It's one that never ends.
Yeah,
How do we stay on top of what's been pulled out last week and what's going in next week?
yeah,
And in part, I mean, it's a there's multi parts to that answer, and one is obviously the tree census, which is incredibly important to what we do. That is information provided by growers that really updates a lot of what we do with regards to changes year on year in plantings.
yep.
But also, as I said, that that layering of the maps, the fact that we've got the multi-layers of maps, which update at different stages, and that helps us as well because suddenly, a map just might update that shows, hey, suddenly this planting which was here on the last run pass has suddenly disappeared and been ripped out. And in fact, you see some maps sometimes where you can actually see the bulldozers in there ripping up
Really?
things.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I've seen, images where you can actually see them at work removing the actual block, which is quite interesting to see. But that's one of those questions we do wrestle with. It's just trying to stay on top of um,
Movements.
where plantings are coming and going.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so interesting. We're definitely coming in and spying on you at some point,
Cool.
if we're allowed to. Next time we're in Mildura, Rach, over to you.
Yes. Could you? I'm curious a little bit more about this data collection process. So obviously you mentioned KCT and the census, which a lot of it I'm pretty sure is given freely by our growers, but obviously we want to get as accurate information as possible. Are we going to growers often, like on a yearly basis, to find this information? Are we using other means? What's kind of the process? Is it continuous?
It is something that will never end.
Yeah. Right.
It's like the industry. Everything's constantly, everything's in change and constantly on the move. Yeah, so the tree census is a yearly thing, and that is, as I said, supplemented obviously by what we can see. But sometimes it is a matter of me ringing up a grower and trying to get more information. Like if we don't have any tree census information, I will sometimes cold call a grower and to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I do. Can you help? Can you provide me with just what road you're on, even, that
Yes.
sort of thing.
God, right.
Yeah, as basic as that sometimes, as basic as that. So yeah, if anyone is listening and I do ring up, help me. But no, it is. I do love a chat with a grower. And I got to say, a lot of them of growers that I do grow, I do enjoy listening sometimes to just chatting about the industry.
Have a yarn.
It's
Yep.
really interesting. Yeah, and look, yeah, in years gone by, I was out on the road as well, going to visit growers as well. And I think if I try and get more time eventually, I would like to do that again. Is get out on the road and actually um, hit the ground and walk out there and have a chat. So yeah, that's what we do as well sometimes.
Super interesting.
No,
Mm.
that's the life. It's always really good to get out on the ground. I think it's one of the best parts of the
Oh,
job.
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely.
in terms of data usage,
Yep,
obviously it's important from a general standpoint to have all this data to understand the scale of our industry. But can you give us a few examples of, I guess, specific use cases for it, like by us or by other government or otherwise parties in specific situations? You work very closely with our biosecurity team,
yep.
so obviously biosecurity would be a large part of that.
And that's right. I mean, this, as I said, the block builder, and as I touched on this earlier, is a multifaceted use tool. In the one sense, it is about the block builder and collecting that data, and understanding where the industry is going, but it is also about that biosecurity aspect. So those other layers we talked about, the nurseries, um, the packing sheds, and the chain, really the supply chain aspect going all the way to ports and retail, is about protecting the industry in the event that we have pest or disease incursion. So that biosecurity aspect is very important for the block builder. If we do happen to have, um, and we hope we don't, but if we do happen to have a pest or disease incursion, um, the block builder is going to become a very important tool with regards to getting on top of things very quickly, being able to identify areas or risks and so forth, and being able to get on top of it. So that's also, yeah, a very important tool.
Has this program kind of given you any interesting discoveries in the last year or so? Like, I could imagine having all of this data and you being in the weeds so much, you'd learn a thing or two from it, or something that can help all of us out.
I think, the thing that surprised me is just the scale of plantings. I mean, there's some huge plantings out there that I think, you know, are quite remarkable. The amount of trees and hectares that are going in some locations. So that to me, I think is quite a shock. Because if you'd asked me before I'd come into the citrus industry, you know, how big's the citrus farm, and in my mind's eye, I would have said a couple of hectares and someone pottering around on a tractor. Uh, Clearly is not the case in our industry. There's certainly some big operations out there, which is always fascinating to see. So, yeah,
The
I think that
No.
I mean, it hasn't always been the case, though, has it? We haven't always had huge, vast farms owned
oh
by
yeah,
enormous
booking
companies, have we? It used to.
no,
There used to be a lot of smaller mom and pop, operations, weren't there?
absolutely, yeah. Well, going back historically, and you look at how, and I'm sure this is the same for agriculture throughout Australia.
Yeah,
But historically, yes, you're dealing in smaller operations.
yeah,
Um, which over time, and I think that's just w- what the industry is facing now is that, with costs and expenses always on the increase, um, that's how you got to operate, is getting bigger and bigger to stay on top of
yeah.
costs and
And farming's
expenses. So,
tough. Growing farming is
oh,
tough.
It
absolutely.
It's tough.
is.
It's hard work.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I hear a lot from the growers that I do speak to. It's
It's tough.
yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, but yeah, I respect everyone that's out there that's doing it.
It's hard work, so it's really good that we have, everyone, no matter where we are in this industry, coming in and working together to help all this out. And yes, any growers who are listening, please answer Paul's phone
Yes.
calls and help. It would be really helpful,
He's
please.
not selling anything. He's not selling.
He's not. He promises. It's
I'm
great.
friendly, I promise. But yes, it's good. I do enjoy. I honestly say I do enjoy meeting and greeting. So
Yeah.
if I do call, yeah, I'm always up for a chat. Always got time.
Oh, well, no, that's great. It's been really great, to hear about all of this, Paul.
Yes.
Is there any last minute, interesting well, this is your time to sell something. Let's sell the block builder. What are any last minute things that you can say that'll get everyone excited to see how it progresses, I suppose? Any
Yeah,
interesting benefits? Any interesting, anything that's being updated in the future even?
yeah, look, it's constantly evolving and constantly moving. We're always adding and looking at how we can refine our processes to make it a, a a better product, better tool for our industry. And I guess I just want to say it really it's important because it does benefit the industry as a whole. Doesn't matter if you're a grower in far north Queensland or over on the coast in WA or in the Murray Valley. Um, or anywhere in between. It really is. It's something that benefits the whole industry because of the fact, it's we can advocate better for you to government if we know um, what citrus we have, what's planted, but also we're able to better protect the industry as a whole. The more we know. Yeah, so I guess it's really just an opportunity to say that if we do get in contact, please give us a hand because yeah, we're just looking out for everyone really in the industry.
And
Um,
with with everything that we do, knowledge is power, isn't it?
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing, and it's not just me talking because I work on it, but it is truly
It's
stock roasting
fascinating.
is my
It's
It
is my,
fascinating.
but it is, and I'm when I do have that opportunity sometimes to scroll out and look at the map, I am genuinely amazed by what this nation produces in citrus,
Yeah.
because it's big and it's vast,
Oh, it's so
and
fascinating.
it's of global significance with regards to citrus. So yeah, I think
Very proud.
everyone out there can be proud of that.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Oh, what a great note to end on, Paul. Thank you so much for joining
no
us
problem,
today. I
no
always
problem.
say joining us in the studio. We pretend that we've got a proper studio. So thank you for joining us in the studio. Now, Rach, we are almost halfway through the year. how did that happen? We were at a Christmas party in Mildura like last week. That's what
I
it
know.
feels like. And there's still a lot more to come.
Yes, and for all of everyone on the ground, harvesting hasn't stopped. So some of our regions have been putting fruit on the market on the table for the last couple of months. So our guys harvesting Valencias and any of the early season fruit, and some have been putting it out all year, like our Queenslanders growing most of our lemons and limes. So they've been doing some amazing work. But we are now at the time of the year where our mid-season navels and mandarins will be harvested. So the 2025 season is or has been and is continuing to be in absolute full swing.
Ah,
Everyone's putting in the hours, everyone's doing some
yeah.
really fantastic work on the ground, and we just want to say, obviously, like, we wouldn't be here without all of you amazing people out there, across the country.
Across the well-mapped nation.
Yes.
And isn't it nice to be able to pop into your local spot and get some Aussie mandarins and some Aussie citrus? It's good. I had my mandarin this morning. They're so good. So we hope everyone out there on the ground is okay, working hard but not too hard. Well, working as hard as you can. And we hope. Oh, Rach, we've got a zesty pun here. We hope this is a fruitful season for you all. I didn't write that. Rach did. Even Paul's shaking his head.
I'm the worst. I'm sorry. I had to do it.
Oh God.
But yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. We're looking forward to chatting to you guys all again next month. Bye.
See you.
The Full Bottle podcast is funded by Hort Innovation, using the Citrus Research and Development Levy and contributions from the Australian Government.